Welcome, agents of the Atlantic Union. Don your spacesuit, grab your grabber, and get ready to uncover the secrets of the Volgravian space program. Red Matter is a puzzle adventure game by Spanish developer Vertical Robot. Set in a fictional Cold War scenario, you are tasked to infiltrate an abandoned Volgravian research station on Saturn's second largest moon, Rhea. Will you be able to fulfill your honored duty to the Atlantic Union? Will you survive the mysteries the Volgravians unearthed on that distant moon? And most importantly, is this short little VR adventure worth your time? Let's find out. The great conflict between the Atlantic Union and the Volgravian nation is far from over. The enemy spies are everywhere, even among our very own. Your codename, Agent Epsilon. Your mission, infiltrate an abandoned research station on Saturn's moon Rhea to extract some secret documents of undisclosed nature. As you puzzle your way through the station, which is ripe with Soviet-era aesthetics, you uncover the main cause of the tragedy that apparently befell the crew. A mysterious organic substance only referred to as red matter. While this premise would be a solid setup for a horror story, the game does not go that way. It is vaguely unsettling at times without ever being straight up scary or terrifying. The station had 5 inhabitants with names like Olga and Nikolai. You will pick up notes and pictures on your way that uncover the events that have transpired here. That will gradually fill the pause menu with information about the crew and its relationships. You will also come across collectibles and former seized data discs. For a better part of the game, you will act mainly as an observer of past events in a pretty predictable storyline. That only changes to the very end, where the story gets a bit wilder and your character gets more center stage. The game uses a modification of the typical VR teleport as the main locomotion system. Instead of teleporting, you will slowly jump to the designated location. You can modify your jump speed with the right thumbstick. As a simulation of a low gravity environment, this works pretty well. If this is uncomfortable for you, there's an option to switch to a dash or teleport. There's also smooth movement as a secondary locomotion option, but only with hand orientation, meaning you will move into the direction your right hand is pointing, and it is pretty slow. You have to use the jump on several occasions, and you will want to use the jump most of the time to get around at a halfway acceptable pace. The smooth movement is mainly used when you need to get closer to something you want to interact with. There's also an option to play seated and a good deal of comfort settings. You interact with the world with 2 tools. In your right hand you have a grabber to grab stuff. Why use a tool for that at all beats me. We seem to have hands that work perfectly fine. Your left hand tool has 3 functions. There's a scanner which doubles as a quest log. This is what you will use most of the time to get background information on the station and its former inhabitants and to get valuable clues for puzzle solving. The second function is a flashlight that is completely useless considering there are very few dark areas and the light is so weak that it does not do much anyway. Then you can turn it into a second grabber which you will need from time to time to move heavier objects. In each area you will have to solve a little escape room-like puzzle, with difficulties ranging from very easy to regular easy. Most puzzles are pretty straightforward and logic-based. Sometimes you will have to search the immediate surroundings for necessary hints. The puzzles all involve some fiddling with switches and levers. You don't have an inventory, so if you pick something up it is either just decoration or it will be used for a puzzle in the same area. I could see people potentially getting stuck at 1 or 2 occasions for some time, but after figuring it out you will probably facepalm and say to yourself, well, that was obvious, how could I have missed that? If that happens to you, I only have one advice: facepalm carefully while wearing a VR headset. Red Matter is a pretty game. Vertical Robot took a bit of creative freedom when designing the exterior spaces. The planet in the background is way too big and the moon's surface too rocky, but by doing this they managed to infuse the play spaces with a dense atmosphere. The retro-futuristic Soviet-era inspired architecture and aesthetics of the interior set pieces create a solid backdrop for an immersive experience. What brings it all together is an exceptional cinematic soundtrack that is expertly used to intensify key moments in story and world building. A sequel to Red Matter is announced for this summer, which looks to be one of the more promising VR releases of this year, which doesn't say much to be honest, but you know, it is what it is. The story really only gets interesting in the last 10 minutes of the game. I hope the sequel picks up where the first part ended and they push more into the mystery part of the world. Vertical Robot managed to build a pretty cool alternative reality here, one I would like to explore more, especially as some of the more interesting ideas are only teased. The red matter, the eponym of the game, is just there. But what does it do? Where does it come from? What is it? We don't know. We never find out. The game is available on all the platforms. It was originally created for PCVR, and though the Quest port was at its time something like a gold standard for Quest 1 graphics, it is still a bit of a downgrade. I completed the game in one sitting and it took a bit more than 2 hours. The full price is a bit steep for such a short game, but if you get it on a discount, I do recommend to check it out. All things considered, it is a solid experience. A bit of puzzling, a bit of mystery, some scenic views and cool aesthetics. I enjoyed it. That is all from me today. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching and don't panic.